U.S. Marshal Christopher Hoye is a lifelong resident of Nevada and a product of the West Side.
I was born and raised here at the Southern Nevada Memorial Hospital, and I always thought Vegas was the best place to be because it was the only place I knew.
Raised single-handedly by his mom, he showed his talent early in sports and in the classroom.
I was bused to John F. Miller Elementary School, which was about 22 miles away at Atlantic and St. Louis. I was part of an experiment when I went to Kit Carson, myself and a young lady named Yolanda Brooks, and she's now an attorney here in town. It was the first time I saw white kids up close. They actually had books. When I was at Kit Carson, we didn't have books. So I saw what the prospects of being in a great school meant, and I wanted that, and it was quite amazing. And so in fifth grade, when they did the actual busing, I was really excited. It was wonderful. It was going to be a great experience. And there were protesters, and they were protesting out in front of the school with signs. Well, I was a kid. I didn't know they were protesting. I thought it was a party, and they were celebrating that we were there. And so it was really kind of exciting. We were so excited. It's like, all these people are here for us to go to our new school. And I thought it was really wonderful. It wasn't until I was an adult I realized that, you know, maybe some people in the community weren't very happy for us to be there. What the West Side meant to me growing up, it meant everything. I would not want to grow up any other place in America. I wouldn't want to grow up any other place in Las Vegas. If someone said, Chris, we're going to pull you out of this place of urban blight and decay and crime, and we're going to put you up in Summerlin, I would go kicking and screaming. I love the West Side because there were no strangers. It was only people that I hadn't met or people I just didn't know. I never felt out of place. Every grocery store that I went to, whether it was Johnson, right there on D Street, they knew my name. So other people were always looking after you.
Chris gained degrees from the College of Southern Nevada and Arizona State University, and later a master's from the University of Phoenix in 2007.
When I went to college, you know, my mom didn't go into debt. My mom didn't go into debt 35 cents when I went to college. She says, son, you need to go get that degree. She didn't say she was paying for it. She says, you go and get it. And so I learned to work. I learned to appreciate. So there's some things that are very conservative type values that embody everything that I am. My mom is my inspiration. And I'll say it for this reason. She worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Whatever was required is what she did.
You know, it was hard and it was a struggle with me, with my kids. When I would get off one job, I would run home and try to do a little bit around the house, make sure that I would have food, you know, fixed for them to eat. And then I would go to the second job.
She never wanted a government assistant. She was too proud for that. No. If I get it, I'm going to work for it. We were never given anything. Everything you get in life, you work for, you earn it, you appreciate it, and you take care of it. My mom's my hero. She's my best friend in the whole world.
Hoye is a dedicated family man and a sports enthusiast.
My grandfather loved baseball, and it was a way of connecting with my grandfather.
As Sandy Koufax walked out to the mound to pitch.
My grandfather loved the Dodgers. He loved talking about the Dodgers, and so I grew up loving baseball too. And then also Mr. Rice, and Mr. Rice was a postman, and his 3 boys, he got them involved in Little League sports early, and Mr. Rice was one of the few men, father figures that were around. And Mr. Rice not only grabbed his boys, but as a good man would, he put his arms around a neighborhood of kids and got us all involved too.
Hoye worked in security before joining the Metropolitan Police Department in 1988, where in a career spanning over 25 years, he rose through the ranks to the position of lieutenant.
I grew up with a natural fear of the police. As a matter of fact, I would venture to say I grew up with a hatred of the police because I didn't like them. They were tourists in our neighborhood, and they didn't come to bring anything good. But there were 2 police officers when I grew up, Eddie Landino and Mike Schultz. Changed everything. And in changing everything, changed my life. You know, they got out of their car. They watched us play basketball over at Kit Carson. It was just nice seeing, you know, Mike Schultz and Eddie Landino drive down the street. You had this feeling of safety because these were our police officers. I couldn't speak to Metro, I couldn't speak to the city of Las Vegas, but I could speak to 2 white officers who took the time to get out of the car and care about little black kids. And that's the kind of police officer I wanted to become. My law enforcement career started in 1988. I spent 23 years on the streets of Las Vegas. Even though I promoted as a police officer to the rank of lieutenant, which is supervisor, most of my time was just basically spent on the streets, working with other police officers, as well as in the police academy teaching other cops. And the reason why is because what little bit I've learned as a man, what little bit I've learned growing up in this community, is that if I have anything of value, it has to be shared.
Christopher Hoye was recommended by Senator Harry Reid for U.S. Marshal for the District of Nevada and was one of 5 nominated by President Obama in January 2010, who said of the nominees, "They have dedicated their careers to protecting their fellow Americans, and in so doing they have displayed exceptional selflessness and courage. I am confident they will serve the American people with integrity, and I am honored to nominate them today to continue their work as U.S. Marshals."
And even when I was appointed to my current post as the U.S. Marshal by President Barack Obama, I still look at my upbringing as being quite humble, but my responsibility has grown even more. But not beyond the scope and not the walls of Las Vegas. And that is to take what I was taught, to be hardworking and diligent and to care about my neighbors. Additionally, the love for my family is the same love that I take now to my current position as a U.S. Marshal. And now I think it's manifested itself quite well because I work around a lot of young men and women now who I think are spreading the exact same message that started with a young lady raising 7 kids in West Las Vegas.
While fulfilling his professional duties, he also served as commissioner of the Las Vegas Housing Authority and worked as a part-time lecturer, counselor, and mentor.
What would I tell young African American, even young people, period? I would say, take a brief lesson in just common courtesy. When you're dealing not just with the police, start off with the clerk at the grocery store. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. It is just that simple. As a matter of fact, what it does is that it creates a framework now when you're dealing with the police and you encounter them, you go, "Sir, what can I do? Sir, what did I do?" Instantly, they understand that they're dealing with someone who isn't a threat to them. And that's all it is. There's no class that anyone needs to take. This is America. All they need to do is just be respectful. And it should start with the police, but it should be mirrored by the citizen.
Senator Harry Reid remarked that Lieutenant Hoye has served honorably in the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, including on the Mobile Crime Saturation Team and the Homeland Security Saturation Team. Lieutenant Hoye is heavily decorated, having been honored as Police Officer of the Year, Commissioner of the Year, and a recipient of the Metropolitan Police Department Award for Leadership. Christopher Hoye is an exceptional choice for U.S. Marshal, and I congratulate him as he takes this next step in his already impressive career.
The only thing I would like to add in closing is this, is that it's like Chicken Little. People think that the sky is falling, and it's not. These things, the things that happen in the world are cyclical. It still comes back to the thing that's going to save our country. I'm sorry, it's not going to be a president who has a lot of money. It's not going to be a president who has a lot of power. It's not going to be a president at all. What's going to make our world better is just people like you and me. Someone like you who's an archivist, a person and who's a scholar, and who's an artist, and who says that, there's a story that needs to be told, I'm going to find it. Or maybe a little guy like me, a little guy with just a small voice who was raised properly, who simply said, I do have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to keep my community safe. If I'm keeping my community safe, my country is going to be better served because there's one man in this country who's going to do his best to look after the other guy and not be concerned with just self-interest.